Hey, and welcome into the Big Ten Huddle. I'm your host, JR, and today we're going to be looking at 5 different players who are currently in the transfer portal or have declared they are going into the transfer portal that have gained interest or are watching or have been watched by current Big Ten teams that could be landing some of these prospects. I do want to say it's very early on in the process, so just because your name is not mentioned here does not mean that your team will not be involved in these players possibly, but it is much better if your name is mentioned at the beginning. Sometimes these things can take a little bit longer with some prospects, and others it can be a little bit shorter. So we're going to go ahead and mention 5 prospects, look at all of their stats and everything on CBB Analytics. If you know about the show, you know CBB Analytics. Use code HUDDLE, HUDDLE, for $30 off there. I have the full version. I'm going to show you guys the full version a little bit today as we look at these 5 prospects, and then hopefully that will inspire you to want to have CBB Analytics. So again, cbbanalytics.com. Use code HUDDLE, HUDDLE, for $30 off your first purchase there. All right. Let's look at our first player in the transfer portal that is gaining interest from Big Ten teams, and that is Owen Freeman. He has the option to go outside of the Big Ten or stay in the Big Ten. He is somebody who is going to garner a lot of interest from a lot of different teams, but he does have the do not contact tag. He is from Iowa, or he played at Iowa the past 2 years. He's going to be a junior, 6'10", a center, 220 pounds, from Moline, Illinois. He is the number 4 player nationally, according to the On3 industry transfer portal rankings, and the number 1 center in the On3 industry transfer portal rankings. The On3 industry are the rankings that encompass all of the transfer portal rankings. So not just their own, but they take in 24/7, Rivals, ESPN, all of those. Any that are available, they put into those. On3 is very high on him as well, but On3 seems to be the one that is rating these players the quickest. So I went ahead and went with their On3 industry rankings for that. All right, let's take a look at Owen Freeman. Owen Freeman, an obvious score when you look at these stats. So when you're looking at CBB Analytics, these are not rankings. These are percentiles for what these what each of these metrics are. I like them better than rankings because sometimes a guy can be in the 100th percentile or the 99th percentile, and he's 20th or 25th in the nation. Well, it makes a whole lot more sense to look at the percentile because that shows that it's closer rather than like 25th or 20th in the nation, which you're like, oh, that's good, but it doesn't quite look the same. So I like that CBB Analytics does that. You do have the option, to switch to rankings and stuff like that as well. But I'm not going to show you that today. I'm just showing you the stats and everything. So, but turnovers were an issue for Owen Freeman this year. He had a high usage rate. Of course, he did get hurt after the Ohio State game, and so he did not play from Purdue on the rest of the year. And if we look at his chart here with how he is, so 2-point percentage, very efficient score. He does not have an outside game in the 43rd, 54th percentile there. I mean, it's good enough to be a threat, but he's not somebody that is going to be draining threes from downtown or anything like that anytime soon. Although he was not the best defender in the Big Ten, he does have some good defensive ratings and stuff. Didn't get a whole lot of steals, but did a good job getting blocks. He's in the 90th percentile there. His fouling efficiency was up pretty high as well. Defensive rebounding percentage, he was in the 85th percentile there. So good stuff there. Nothing great. He's not going to be a lockdown defender, huge rim protector for you, but he is somebody that's going to be reliable and being able to deter drivers and stuff like that at times. You're not going to be completely without a rim protector on this team without him. Not a guy who's going to control the ball. This isn't a Danny Wolf or anything like that. This is a guy that's going to get down, post up down there. I like these charts. They give you kind of an idea. Of course, us being Big Ten fans, watching the Big Ten most likely, you're going to get good comparisons to other Big Ten players. This is probably the best chart I like for Owen Freeman. It's the 2-point attempts per 40 minutes, and it's 2-point percent. So if you look at Owen Freeman, you always want to be kind of high up in this top corner here. Owen Freeman does a good job of taking a high number of 2-point attempts per game, per 40 minutes, I guess, in this scenario. And then his 2-point percentage is also very high. The only big man, really only player with a higher 2-point percentage than him in the conference this year was Trey Kaufman-Renn. Trey Kaufman-Renn did not take, did not have, I apologize, 2-point percentage. He had a higher, Trey Kaufman-Renn had a higher rate of 2-point attempts per 40 minutes. Owen Freeman had a higher 2-point percentage. There were other players with a higher 2-point percentage than him, but those were players that didn't take nearly as many shots. We're looking at Evan Bronze, Will Berg, Braxton Mia, guys like that, Zach Martini. Like, these were guys that did not take as many, so that would make sense why theirs were bigger. So Owen Freeman, he is gaining interest right now from Ohio State and Michigan. He has a do not contact tag. Michigan is the team that I would say is probably the favorite right now, with just what it sounds like they're offering behind the scenes NIL wise. Ohio State kind of in the mix here. They're not being reported nationally by like Joe Tipton or Pete Nikos or 24/7 Isaac Trotter or anything like that. Really, they're being reported by the local Adam Jardy, a local beat writer, probably the writer that is most dedicated to Ohio State basketball in that area. He's reporting that Ohio State is, quote, in the mix. So, take that for what it's worth. I figured we needed to include him since they are saying that, but he's also gaining interest from Alabama, Gonzaga, and I would not be surprised if other teams get involved there soon as well. All right, we're going to stick with Iowa. Let's go on over to one of Owen Freeman's. I did say, yeah, he's number one center. Let's go on over to the number one player in the transfer portal on 3 industry rankings, and that is Josh Dix, and that is Dix, D-I-X. For him, Josh Dix, he is a shooting guard from Iowa. I mean, fantastic scorer. His freshman year and sophomore year, like, didn't really do a whole lot outside of that, but he kind of developed his game a little bit more his junior year. He's going to be a senior this year, 6'4", shooting guard, 180. Weighs 180. He is from Council Bluffs, Iowa, the number one player in the On3 industry portal rankings, the number one shooting guard for them. Josh Dix is going to get a lot of attention with his size and his scoring ability. It says 6'4". He might actually be 6'6". Let me check on that really fast. So that's the issue. Josh Dix is listed as 6'6" on CBB Analytics, but if you go to like On3 and places like that, he's listed as 6'4". Since he's a senior, I would guess he's probably grown since his early kind of measurements and stuff, and On3 sometimes keeps those measurements the same. So CBB Analytics is who I would trust more in this scenario. They say he's 6'6", so we're going to go with 6'6". Josh Dix, very efficient shooter. I mean, you look over here in the shooting column, this is obviously where he is going to excel the most. Did a pretty good job of loading up the box score as well. 3 defensive rebounds per game, had about a steal per game, a half a block per game. Did a good job of not turning the ball over, averaged less than 1 turnover per game. Did a good job of not fouling too much on the defensive end, but he was up there scoring nearly 15 points per game, getting nearly 3 assists per game. So you like to see the way Josh Dix has developed his game throughout his years in the Big Ten. He's somebody that can play over 30 minutes a game for you. If he plays all 40 minutes, he'd be projected to make nearly 18 points per game, and you gotta love that effective field goal percentage there, 59.9%. That's fantastic. We go down here, we look at his chart. Obviously, like I said, shooting off the charts. He's a good job of getting assist to turnover ratio. He's in the 98th percentile there, and then his turnover percent only 6.7%. That's in the 97th percentile. Personal foul efficiency, he's in the 94th percentile there. Does a good job of not fouling, and then he does a pretty good job of getting blocks as well with his size at 6'6". He can come behind guys and get blocks there. It's a good thing. He does not have the highest usage rate because, like I said, really just more of a scorer. Not really somebody who's going to distribute the ball around as much, so his usage rate isn't as high, in the 53rd percentile, but you got to love that 3-point shooting percentage, 42.2%, 57.2% from the 2-point. He does not do a great job of getting to the line, though, just because he does take so many fadeaways. He does take mid-range jump shots, but, I mean, you can't really argue with it. 57.2% from the 2-point range. He's doing a great job of knocking down the shots that he does take. All right, we go over here to the usage rate with the true shooting percentage. He's kind of middle of the pack with some other guys. You're looking at Kwame Evans Jr. kind of around him, Santam Magul around him. Jace Richardson is close to him. Kevin Patton Jr., Lathan Somerville. Those are some guys that are maybe different positions than him, but still. Fletcher Lawyer is close to him. So these are kind of the guys you're looking at when you start thinking of him. Right in the middle there of the 2-point field goal attempts per game. He doesn't take too many. He's kind of right in the middle of the pack, and he's not super high on the 2-point percentage, but he is up there with guys like Thomas Lavavicic and other big men, Jordan Geronimo, guys who are going to be taking a lot of shots close to the basket. Josh Dix doesn't take as many close to the basket. Like, look up here when you get to the, where's it at? The points in the paint. He does get 5 points in the paint per game, which is 83rd percentile. Now, these are adjusted for his position, so obviously 5 points in the paint per game is not going to be 83rd percentile for all players, but for Josh Dix, it will be. So that pretty good synopsis of his game there. And really this chart over here, the 3-point shooting, he's again with Bartholomew, Fletcher Lawyer, other guys like that, just a solid shooter, taking a good amount of shots above Trey Donaldson, taking a good amount of shots, but also making those shots as well. Teams that are currently showing interest in Josh Dix, I believe is the way Joe Tipton put it, are Nebraska and Illinois. Those are the two Big Ten teams. Creighton, and there's many more. Tipton said in there, there's a lot more that he didn't name. Those were kind of the three. He mentioned 5 or 6, but those are the 3 off the top of my head that I remember the best. I think Creighton is probably the favorite here. Creighton is closest to where he was from where he grew up. Creighton is definitely somebody who could use his abilities in a really positive way. I wouldn't sleep on Illinois here. Illinois might have the ability to bring him in and really turn him into something, but this looks like somebody that Creighton's probably going to go after and probably going to get. We'll see. Maybe some NIL comes into play and changes things, but I think that's where we stand. Moving on to the UNLV transfer, Dedan Thomas Jr. He was number 11, UNLV sophomore this year, 6'1". He's going to be a junior with a couple years of experience playing. He is a point guard. He's the number 1 player national, or the number 1 point guard. He is the number 2 player nationally in the On3 industry rankings. He is from Las Vegas, Nevada, so he decided to stay home, going to UNLV there. 6'1", point guard, 170 pounds. The teams you have, well, let's get to the stats first, and then we'll talk about teams interested in him. Not much of a rebounder, offensive rebounding percentage. He's obviously not focusing much on that with his size and what he plays at point guard. Effective field goal percentage was not great. You would like to see that be higher for somebody that is going to be a primary playmaker for you, but he does play a lot of minutes per game. He's somebody that's going to, nearly 18 points per 40 minutes, kind of like Josh Dix was. He's scoring nearly 16 points per game, nearly 5 assists per game as well, doing a good job of not picking up too many personal fouls. He is getting to the free throw line a lot. That is something you love to see, but the issue there is he's only shooting 72.1% from the free throw line. So good job getting to the free throw line, but you need to start converting those free throws better than you were before. He was also somebody that did not play for the final, 7 games of the season. He does a good job getting out on the fast break, does a good job of scoring in the paint for himself and his size and his position there. Good job second chance points, all that stuff. Not really much of a defender by the numbers here, but of course, numbers don't always tell the story on defense. So, there could be a little bit more desire there. But this is really, Dedan Thomas here, he's really more of a playmaker, kind of ball control, point guard type of guy who is going to really facilitate within your offense, do a good job getting himself to the free throw line like we talked about, but also setting other guys up. This is a guy that's going to dominate the pick and roll. He's going to do a good job of being kind of the maestro, the leader of your offense, taking everybody into account. He has a really high usage rate, so even though he is not doing the other things like rebounding and stuff like that on the offensive end, he's going to score a lot of points for you. He is going to make sure that he gets a lot of assists for you. A lot of things are going to run through him in a lot of those cases as well. So his assist to usage rate there, 82nd percentile. Dedan Thomas, I think, is going to be a valuable piece for whatever team gets him by also looking at his ranking too. Number 1 point guard in the transfer portal right now. How can you deny that? If we look at the teams that are interested in him, only one Big Ten team was mentioned by Joe Tipton, and that was UCLA. Florida and Missouri were also mentioned as well. I think Florida's probably the favorite there because of the money that they're going to be throwing at Dedan Thomas. But this was also a guy that chose to stay close to home when he first came out of his recruiting. So maybe he looks at UCLA. He values that a little bit more. UCLA did have 4 starters coming from the transfer portal this past year. So it's very possible that Mick Cronin is going to start looking at that more and more. Mick Cronin has some good scorers, some good guys that can create offense for him on his team right now. Sky Clark is one of those that comes to mind. So I don't know if he's necessarily coming in to replace one of them, but he would be a playmaker. He would be a ball control type of player who could really facilitate your offense for you. And that's something that UCLA is probably going to need in this upcoming year. I don't know if the defense really fits with Mick Cronin. We'll have to see if maybe he can get that out of him. But I mean, when you have a guy this close to you, Las Vegas, that's this good, you can't not reach out to him, and that's exactly what Mick Cronin did. So good on him. All right, let's go to the next one. Our next one, we only have one team that was mentioned interested in him. I suppose that means good things for him, but I also think that probably means he's going to have some more teams reaching out at some point. Now, he is not the highest rated player there is, but it is Kennard Davis Jr. He is from Southern Illinois. Southern Illinois has given some good players to the Big Ten recently, so this could be a school that could very well do that for a Big Ten team. But Kennard Davis Jr. from Southern Illinois, going to be a sophomore this year, 6'5", small forward, weighs 185, from St. Louis, Missouri. He is nationally the 566th player, and he is the number 94 small forward. Isaac Trotter called him one of the most improved players in college basketball this past year, what he was able to do with his game. He's an outside scorer. You start looking at the shooting and the percentages here. He's somebody that shoots nearly 40% from 3, and he's taken over 5 3-point attempts per game. This is somebody that would go very well with Washington. Danny Sprinkle definitely going to be going after him. He was already mentioned by Isaac Trotter to be a team that is showing early interest in him, a team that needs to be kept an eye on, because Washington is definitely going to be looking at getting a shooter to pair with Zoom Diallo and what he can bring to your offense. They had that with Davis last year, but Davis is going to be moving on, graduated, and so I believe he's graduating. He might have been to the transfer portal. I think he just graduated though. They had a freshman into the transfer portal. I don't think it was Davis. Anyway, point is, Davis is gone. You're gonna need Kennard Davis to come in, be a good shooter for you, be somebody with some length and can get to the outside, and also come back and play some good defense for you as well. Had a very high usage rate at Southern Illinois, so that is not going to be uncommon to him. He's somebody that did a really good job of drawing fouls as well. Nearly 4 personal fouls drawn per game. That's fantastic, especially somebody who has that ability to shoot from the outside, showing that he doesn't just stay on the outside. He's also getting into the paint. He's also working there as well. He had 6 points in the paint per game. That's in the 90th percentile for his size and position, everything like that. And he's also getting out on the fast break. He's averaging 2 points in the fast break per game as well. So you like to see that he has that capability to overall doing a good job getting to the free throw line. But hey, he's kind of like Dedan Thomas there, only 77.3% from the free throw line. You really like to see guys who are able to get to the free throw line so many times, 4 more times a game. You really like to see them be up above 80%, sometimes up near 90% if they're really, really good. I mean, that was what Wisconsin got in John Tonji. So that's like, epic, amazing levels. But Kennard Davis Jr., I don't think that doesn't need to be a part of his game. Get to the free throw line, knock down the free throws you're supposed to knock down, and go from there. All right, our very last one, the kid from Nevada. He had a huge tweet go out by Joe Tipton, and he is Nick Davidson from Nevada. Now, Nick Davidson on here listed as a forward this year. He played center for Nevada pretty much all year. And he did a really good job of not just staying in the paint, staying in the lane. He did a really good job of being able to be versatile. He was creating for himself off the dribble if he needed to. He's a catch and shoot off a screen type of guy, or a catch and drive. And so that really made him dangerous in some of his highlights that I was watching. A lot of guys, run to him so fast to get out on the shooter that he's able to just kind of pump and go. And the other guy who is coming off, or who is guarding the screener, oftentimes gets caught up so much he's not able to catch up there as well. So Nevada did play the Mountain West this last year. The Mountain West, a better conference than most other, kind of smaller conferences, not Big Ten, not Big East, not, SEC, stuff like that. So he should be able to translate, but I think he's going to translate more as a 4 rather than a 5. He just doesn't have the rebounding from what I saw this year to really give him that. He did have 4.6 rebounds per game, and he did have 1.8 offensive rebounds per game. I apologize. 4.6 defensive rebounds per game, 1.8 offensive rebounds per game. So he is getting those rebounds, but I think with his size and moving up a level to the Big Ten, this is not a guy you're going to want to put at your 5 spot to rely on for that kind of rebounding. Or if you are going to want to also play him at the 4. So I like him more at a 4 at the next level. We'll see if he kind of makes that transition to that. But also, you put him at the 5, you're going to have some mismatches with other guys on offense too that are going to have a nightmare trying to guard him. So he's gonna do a good job when he comes up to the next level. Is he gonna be a superstar? We'll see. Right now, he is not rated at all. He is anywhere from 6'8" to 6'10". CB Analytics has him at 6'9", so that's the one I'm going to trust at 6'9". He's going to be a senior this next year. He weighs, I don't even know if CB Analytics had his weight. Let me look this up really fast. His weight to them. Oh, no, they didn't have his weight. I apologize. What was his weight? Let me look at it. On3 has his weight listed at 210, but they also have him listed at 6'8", so could be a little bit different here when it comes to his size. But that's pretty much Nick Davidson there for you. When we look at the stats, he's going to be somebody, like I said, he's going to be able to pop out and shoot. He did a good job of getting to the free throw line this past year, 5.3 free throw attempts per game. For a big man, shooting 69.9% from the free throw line. It's nothing spectacular. It's pretty good. You would like to see better, but it's obviously manageable and doable. He did turn the ball over a lot. I think that was kind of a product of them putting him in so much action and giving him so much usage as well. I mean, you look at the chart down here, is in the 90th percentile of usage as a center. That's kind of crazy for centers sometimes, but that's what they decided to use him for. A really good passer. He had a 94th percentile of passing. That's why I think this guy's probably going to translate more to a 4. He's going to be able to play the 5 at the next level, but I think he's going to be able to translate more with the 4 because he is able to put the ball on the court. He is going to be able to back guys down at the same time. So he has kind of a versatile, unique skill set there that he's going to be able to bring to whatever team, and that's really why he has so many teams coming after him. Joe Tipton listed about 25 different schools that have already reached out to Nick Davidson. He's not even rated yet in the On3 transfer portal rankings and the On3 industry portal rankings. Like, he's not being listed at all, but he is going to be a good player and a very nice piece for wherever he goes. Big Ten teams that are currently interested in him or have reached out are Illinois, Purdue, USC, Washington, and Ohio State. I think that he fits into pretty much all of those teams. I really would be interested to see what he could do on a Purdue team. I think Brad Underwood would do some special things with him on Illinois. Not a bad defender. You look at some of the defensive stats here. He did a pretty good job in his blocking percentage. Not really much wanting to get steals, but he's also playing against big men most of the time. And then 65th percentile in defensive rebounding percentage. That's why I do like to look at those defensive rebounding percentage numbers, because I do think defensive rebounds per game can be a little deceiving if a guy plays a bunch of minutes, and he was playing over 33 minutes a game. So for a big man doing that, again, Probably translates to the 4 at the next level, but we'll see what one of these coaches do that gets their hands on him. Could be something special. So that's what you got. That's what I got for you. Those are the 5 players. Owen Freeman, just to recap really fast, let's do Owen Freeman, Ohio State, Michigan, the two Big Ten teams there that are going after him. Josh Dix, Illinois, Nebraska were the 2 teams that were mentioned, but there could be more. Dedan Thomas, UCLA was the Big Ten team mentioned there. Kennard Davis Jr., Washington, the Big Ten team mentioned there, and then Nick Davidson from Nevada, Illinois, Purdue, USC, Washington, and Ohio State. Thanks so much for watching. Please do like, subscribe, check out cbbanalytics.com, code HUDDLE, HUDDLE, for $30 off. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate you listening. Have a good one.